Welcome back to Rome Remastered, my friends, and more specifically, to RTR Imperium Surrectum. I am collaborating with the mod team over at RTR to give you a full video dev diary on the features of version 0.5 of this ever-expanding mod. And even though it's been a while since the last one, things are now really starting to pick up. In this video, we'll be going through the complete and updated unit roster for the Antigonid Kingdom, also known as Macedonia, one of the many Hellenistic factions in this mod, which now features fully remastered unit models, but with the detail you've never seen before. Macedonia is the very first faction to feature new units of this quality, and I hope you are as excited as I am to check them out. Let's begin at the lower end of the scale, with the lightly armored units. The Siloi are the first ones out. They might not look like much, seeing as they're dressed in the everyday wear of farmers and servants, and you'd be right. These guys go down easily against heavier enemy infantry, but that's exactly why the Siloi are equipped with sticks, as that's the weapon they can throw from far away. Siloi are therefore a cheap and cost-effective auxiliary unit for the core of your army, and are there to harass the enemy from afar. Even though they're not as flashy as some other units, the Siloi have been given a total visual overhaul, and you can clearly see the care that's been put into making each unit look unique and grounded in the world. The same goes for our next unit, the Slingers. Now Slingers is a classic Hellenistic unit which has always given me a laugh, but in RTR 0.5, they too look so much better than before. Like Siloi, the Slingers are poorly armored, but what they lack in defenses they make up for in their very long-range missiles, namely rocks. Indeed, this also remains the case for the Greek archers. Still among the lower tier units, the archers are my favorite, as I love how the equipment makes each unit look that much more complex. As noted, even with these lightly armored units, we see unique features and aspects with each and every one of them. This is made possible by the fact that RTR uses 7 distinct models per unit, meaning shields, helmets and hats, cloaks, hairstyles, and other things, and so you're not likely at all to see two units looking exactly the same, which is a stark contrast to the clone armies of the original Rome Total War. Now comes the first truly gorgeous unit in terms of style. The Ephebes were younger archers trained in various combat arts, but not necessarily that experienced versus better, heavier infantry. As you can see though, they are much better equipped than the regular Greek archers, and will definitely serve you better as well. I just love the look of these, and a mix of that classic Greek lunothorax and archer garments gives them a wholly unique look, and the larger sun hats lends them better aim than the regular archers. But the most elite of the archers in the Macedonian roster has to be the classic Cretan archers. These archers were renowned as specialist mercenaries through Greece and the Eastern Mediterranean, from as far back as the 8th century BC. Being lightly armored, but still offering protection through those beautifully crafted bronze helmets and rounded shields, they are still fast-moving and wield composite bows for extra accuracy and damage. These are true specialists of the Macedonian long-range army, and even though they are strictly mercenaries for now, you can recruit them in various parts of the Greek world, including on Crete itself, in Alexandria, Antioch, and the Peloponnese, so you do well to seek them out as soon as you can. And now to the Oisonoi, our first javelin infantry. These soldiers are lightly armored skirmish infantry, and will essentially act as a next level Siloi. While they can compete in close combat, they prefer fighting from a distance, once again harassing the enemy from afar. The helmets are perhaps my favorite detail here, as they're getting more varied and shiny. For even more detail now, the Agrianian infantry are elite assault troops specialized in hilly and mountain warfare. Much more unique looking than their Oisonoi counterparts, their shields are beautifully crafted while remaining light, enabling them to effectively use their curved Rhomphaia swords. Check out their cloaks as well, and their detailed patterns and varied colors. Jumping over to our first true fighter unit now, the Thracian infantry remains a light infantry unit, but with a strong bite. Just like their Agranian counterparts, these Thracians historically specialize in hilly and mountainous regions, but rather than being long-range first, these units carry long swords for melee combat. In addition, their helmets and larger shields provide more protection from enemy hits, and as you can see, they come in many different variations. The Trallian infantry, on the other hand, are heavy infantry equipped with much better armor, like a cuirass and heavy helmets, and now with extra flair. Carrying no shields, they instead carry two-handed swords, dealing extra damage to their enemies. Just look at these colors, and the dedication gone into making them as sharp-looking and beautiful as possible, from the heavy cuirass to the cloaks on their backs. And now for the best swordsmen in Macedonia, the Royal Peltast Assault Infantry. The Royal Peltasts were elite infantry units recruited from the well-educated and wealthy parts of the Macedonian population. You can see how this elite status corresponds with the shiny armor and equipment. These must be one of the most beautiful units ever made for a Total War unit ever, as every shiny piece comes together so well here. From the dark bronze shields with elaborate patterns, to those extremely tasty breastplates and the tunics underneath, which comes in a number of different colors, to their helmets, These units oozes both wealth and strength. Carrying their shields and swords into battle, the peltasts even carry javelins, which they toss at the enemy before impact. This in turn makes them that much more deadly, and it's a true elite unit. Then we have the sister unit of the assault infantry, namely the Royal Peltast Spearmen variant. Still heavily armored, these elite units carry long spears instead of swords, but the large shield remains. Still packing with morale and stamina, these units are even equipped with some very unique and detailed helmets, almost looking like wizards. And while the assault infantry might be more geared towards fighting other infantrymen, these spearmen can even hold their own against enemy cavalry. And speaking of spearmen, the Surrectum are the first of our regular spearmen. These units carry medium armor and large shields, making them an effective defensive unit for any army. Being mobile as well, these two carry javelins which they can hurl at the enemy. Notice here the difference in shields and armor as well. The classic backbone of the Greek army though is the hoplite, which means even more spears. The hoplites too wear medium armor to keep them flexible and mobile, but the most visually striking part here is arguably the shields. They're large and round, and feature a number of different depictions and symbols. Again, the various colors and patterns strike me the most here, and it's a blend of variation and detail which really shines compared to the base game. And now for perhaps the most iconic and unique part of the Macedonian army, the phalanx. The Leucospides, also known as the White Shields, is the more lightly armored of the phalanx units, but their shields and the iconic Sarissa spears still make them a formidable force. The same goes for the Chalcospides, also known as the Bronze Shields. Despite being recruited from peasants, the Bronze Shields were the main regiment of the Macedonian phalanx and the Antigonid army. Wearing medium armor as well, this unit was virtually undefeated for more than a century, despite being featured in virtually every major battle of the Antigonids. But the best phalanx unit, and perhaps the most elite in the entire Greek world, is the Agema of the Peltasts. These are heavily armored elite and well-trained phalanx units offering superior skill in battle, and their morale is almost unbreakable. As such, they're also expensive and rare to recruit, but feature them in battle, and the enemy will have a real force of nature to deal with. Notice the elaborate design on their shields, the unique colors, and the cloaks on their backs. If everything else goes south, call up the Agema and watch them make Macedon proud. Those were the infantry units of the Antigonid army, from light to nimble, to heavy and slow. It's a varied army then, and compared even to the beautiful units of the original Imperium Surrectum mod, these are a sight to behold, offering so much depth and presence. There is more to this army than just foot soldiers of course, as the Macedonians love their horses. The first of these is the Prodromoi, a scouting unit on horseback. These are very lightly armored, and mainly equipped with javelins for long-range harassing. Commonly found in the Greek world, these scouts are decent in a pinch, but best suited to get a lay of the land and to lead enemy armies into ambushes. Much of the same remains for the Surrectum cavalry. Wearing slightly more armor and carrying shields, this is yet another long-range javelin tossing unit, although these are also effective at charging lightly armored enemy units. The Tarentine cavalry serve many of the same purposes, and this is a mainstay unit in various Hellenistic kingdoms. Once again equipped with javelins and shields, they remain light and will serve you best as supporting units, either hitting the enemy from afar or charging where the enemy line is weakest. I really love the shields here, and I think the mythological white seahorse on the purple background is my personal favorite. The Aspidaphoroi is the first of the useful close-quarter cavalry. Even though they are lightly armored, they carry large beautiful shields and a hoplite spear. They also carry javelins they can toss at the enemy before engaging, which makes them highly versatile indeed. I think the shields are what strikes me the most here, as the detail and variety really just pop. The Paeonian cavalry on the other hand is where the fun really starts. These are aggressive, medium-armored units greatly valued by the Macedonian dynasties for their mobility on the battlefield. They are excellent shock cavalry, but are also great anti-cavalry units, as they're much more powerful than light cavalry, yet still fast-moving and with good stamina. As you can see, the Paeonians wear bronze armor and heavier helmets, like into the infantry seen before, and the large spears make them excellent chargers. Next up is the Thracian noble cavalry. Being heavy cavalry, they offer a powerful charge, good stamina, and excellent morale. Also fighting with long spears, they also use javelins before charging the enemy. Notice the unique patterns on these shields in particular, showing unique Thracian symbols and patterns rather than Greek ones. Now the Thessalian Lancers is one of the most powerful cavalry units in the entire world. Fighting without shields, they instead wear heavy breastplates and helmets, relying on their long Syston spear when charging the enemy, and their charges are indeed devastating. The Hetairoi are what you might know as companion cavalry. These are the social and military elite of Macedonian society, using shock and mass to break enemy units. Wielding a lance for charging, they're also equipped with swords for close combat engagement. As with some of the other heavy cavalry, the entire row can form a wedge when needed. Second last, but definitely not second least, we have the Sustopheroi. These are some of the most heavy shot cavalry in the Macedonian army. Just check out their insanely long spears from which the unit derives its name. Used to effectively pierce through enemy lines, this unit is the mounted counterpart of the phalanx, and any elite Macedonian army would be amiss without them. The final cavalry unit of the Antagonists is of course the general's bodyguard. Having their horses strapped in the iconic leopard skin, these bodyguard units are exceptional heavy cavalry, once again armed with long spears which make them effective in both close combat and for charging. Again, the colors and the detail is what to look out for here, and I love the mix of yellow gold, bronze, purple, and red. That was a quick look at the brand new and updated unit models for the Antigonid Kingdom in the upcoming 0.5 patch for RTR Imperium Surrectum. We've seen everything from lowly javelin throwers to elite bowmen, swordsmen that can pack a punch to swordsmen who will do so in impeccable style, some iconic phalanx unit, and indeed some very powerful cavalry. This is just a peek at the updated Macedonian faction, and it must also be said that both unit models for captains and horses have yet to be fully remodeled. Thank you so much for watching. These units are absolutely gorgeous, eclipsing anything we've seen in the vanilla game or even the past work of these modders themselves. This is especially noticeable when seen side by side with past models, which you can tell look a lot flatter and without the same depth, not to mention that they all look the same. The RTR Imperium Surrectum 0.5 update is scheduled for release later this year, and if you want more, then make sure to check out the official Discord channel. If you want to play the current version of the mod, then head over to the Steam Workshop right now and get to downloading. If you enjoyed the video, I really hope you leave a like, a comment, sub to the channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon or as a channel member. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.